Hi there. Allow me to spin you a yarn. The year is 2020. The world is happy and everyone is alive and well and not dying, and even better, it's nearly Christmas. You see, every year a boy called Bindolich would ask for a video game that his parents would go out and buy as his Christmas present. 2017 was Mario Odyssey. 2018, Smash Ultimate. 2019, Resident Evil 2. And in 2020, he asked for a game called Cyberpunk 2077. He rose on Christmas Day, excited to see his family, but more importantly, to see that rectangular-shaped present with his name on it. He quickly tore it open, and there it was. Resident Evil 3. Now, he wasn't at all unhappy with this, but he was just surprised. This had never happened before. And the reason his parents didn't get him Cyberpunk is because of all the bad press the game was getting. Now, believe it or not, this child called Bindolich is me, Windowledge. And it's still pretty crazy to me that my parents, who know nothing about games, even they knew about how bad of a launch Cyberpunk had. Now, some of you may argue that Resident Evil 3 was the better game. I wouldn't, but that's beside the point. The point is that this was big, and we are approaching 3 years since the game launched, so I decided to see the state of the game as of today. Is the game fun? Does it have a good story? Is it still broken? Is it better than Resident Evil 3? All these questions and more coming up on the Windowledge YouTube channel. And the first thing I said when playing Cyberpunk was, whoa, this game's so pretty, man. There's huge buildings illuminated by neon lights which reflect in the roads and pavement when it rains. Characters actually look like people, and the weapons and cars are super detailed. This is definitely one of the best looking games I've played, but the question is, how many people were able to appreciate it like I did? I played Cyberpunk on a pretty powerful PC, and even it struggled to reach 60 FPS. And, I can't really speak for people playing on a PS5, but it definitely won't look as good or run as well. And then there's the PS4 and Xbox One versions, which were straight up broken at launch and still not fixed today. That is, according to my friend Michael. And Michael would never lie to me. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand it's a lot to ask for a game coming out in 2020 to run on hardware from 2013, but I look at games like The Last of Us 2, which came out in 2020, and is probably the most realistic looking game I've ever played, and it runs great on a base PS4 at a stable frame rate. When you've got examples like that, I don't really think there's an excuse. This game is just poorly optimized. It is no doubt improved from launch, but it is still far from perfect. And while the world is super pretty and really detailed, you will soon realise that Night City is straight up evil, my man. Every advert, which are everywhere mind you, is some kind of innuendo or straight up just about drugs and sex and balls and cum and balls. Like, what? There are children walking around the street sitting next to an advert like this. And why in Martin Luther King Boulevard is there a billboard for this? Like, I know he had a dream and all, but I didn't think it was that kind of dream. In the cool tier list of games you really don't want your family to watch you play, this might just be at the top, which is why I feel like it's a good idea I didn't get this game for Christmas. I think it would have been cool to see the 2077 equivalent of like an M&M's World or a zoo or like an IKEA ad. Okay, maybe not an IKEA ad, but you get the point. But enough about visuals. What is there to do in this big, wide world? Well, quite a lot. Pretty much everywhere you go there's a job to do or a gang of petty thieves to deal with in a transformative and cooperative manner, that is, brutally murdering them with a sword. There are so many side quests, gigs and crimes to stop by committing more crimes, so the best thing I can say about Cyberpunk is that I 100%ed it. And I think I owe that to two things. Number one, the combat is actually very fun. I used a katana the whole game and had fun just one-shotting everything. The guns feel nice and the hacking is cool. Like, look, watch me hack this innocent person into game-ending himself. Ha 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 ha. So that's the first thing, and the second thing is V. Not the protagonist V, the letter V on my keyboard. You see, when I press V, my car comes to me. You don't have to worry about parking your car in a garage like in GTA. You can drive it into the sea, press V, and it's just behind you. This made getting around so easy and actually enjoyable. Better than that is the driving actually feels really nice. The cars look all futuristic and stuff, but word of warning, do not drive in first person in this game. Oh god, where am I going? What am I doing? Help, 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 help. Oh no, 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 no. The reason this feature was so good is that there was basically no downtime. If I wanted to go somewhere and do something, it would take no longer than a minute to do so. Once I have my mind set on something in any game, I just want to do it. And in many games it feels like a drag just to get around. Cyberpunk is fast and convenient, which is why it's one of the only games I have ever 100%ed. See, recently I played God of War Ragnarok, and as soon as I finished it I said, wow, that game was awesome, and Kratos is so cool, and I can't wait to 100% this video game for the Sony PlayStation 5. This was 10 months ago. I haven't played it since. And I think that's down to the fact that the movement was the weakest part of the game. To get to a new area, you have to load in for a while, then go around in a slow-ass boat. That is, if you're lucky. Sometimes you have to walk through the more linear segments you've already completed to find a collectible boat that makes you think, man, I wish I was in that slow-ass boat right now. And while I think Ragnarok's combat is superior to Cyberpunk, the fact that I had to go through all these hoops just to get to the encounters made me think twice about turning the game on again. The only other game I've 100%ed is Zelda Breath of the Wild, mainly because of the movement, and while it's slow, it didn't feel like an obstacle. And it's my favourite game ever because of it, so understand that me saying I fully completed Cyberpunk is one of the best things I can say. But Window Ledge, who cares? I want to know if the game is still broken or not, first of all. Shut up. Second of all, you're absolutely right, let's talk about that. Now it's time for the $2 million question. After all this time, 2.5 years, is the game known as Cyberpunk 2077, developed by CD Projekt Red, is it fixed? No. I mean, this is definitely the buggiest game I've played, which is nuts, considering that it might have even been worse when it first came out. The fact that they've continued working on it since release, and it's still in such a sorry state, makes me think that this game might have needed another year or two of full development before releasing. And even crazier is that the game was meant to come out 8 months prior, but was delayed to the actual December 2020 release date. But here's the thing, did the bugs ruin the experience for me? Nope. Bugs turn mediocre games into comedy masterpieces. Like, one of my favourite recent gaming experiences was from The Long Drive. This game sucks, but it is straight up hilarious to play because of all the insane BS that just happens. The cars disintegrate when you touch them, your limbs work like 50% of the time and everything just goes flying. And the glitches in Cyberpunk were also very funny. But what's the difference between this game and this game? Well, this game is trying to take itself seriously. There were lots of times where Cyberpunk had me just completely hooked. The characters are acted brilliantly and animated just as well. The story is interesting and touches on some thought-provoking subjects about technology and time. And scenes are tense and dialogue-driven. At these points, I was completely absorbed. I am the Cyberpunk, and I must take this thing to this guy, and I'm friends with Keanu Reeves, and he says Cyberpunk 2077 after each line, and then my guy starts drinking nothing, and I remember, oh, I am sitting alone in my room playing a game that has no significance to my life, and Keanu Reeves is not my friend, and I go, oh. You just can't ignore the bugs. Enemies get stuck in cars and become invincible. If your bike is in a bush, you can no longer ride it, and I don't even know what happened here. Okay, guys, I think I did it. I think I just beat a mission in Cyberpunk without anything going... Okay, never mind. But at least the combat's fun, right? You know, killing people is fun. What? Where is his head? What? This game's cursed. I'm going home. I can't take this anymore. I just want to go... Ah! And don't get me wrong, it's funny, but this scene shouldn't be funny. I was so accustomed to bugs by the end of the game that ones I'd normally notice, I just went, oh, yeah, anyway. It is not good, and it sucks because the story is genuinely brilliant. And this game has some amazing characters like Judy, Panam, Jackie, Takamura, Keanu, Flaming Crotch Man. That's Michael's favourite character. The acting and animation are so good, but all that work is undone when my guy just walks through the car. And I understand I've said a lot of negative things about Cyberpunk, but I genuinely really enjoyed this game. It's one of the very few story-driven games where I actually continued playing after the credits rolled. The combat, the driving, the world building and acting is all industry-leading in my opinion. And things are looking up. By the time you're watching this, the Phantom Menace DLC might be out, which comes with a free update which hopes to fix a lot of the issues and refine a lot of existing features. This might be the best time to try the game for yourself, and I truly recommend it, and for that reason, I say it's better than Resident Evil 3. Thanks for watching.